Welcome to This Explainer. Look, as your technical consultant, I'm absolutely pumped to have you here today. We are going to look closely at a super specific, incredibly profitable process that can literally maximize your print shop's ROI. If you're running industrial UV flatbed printers, especially a total powerhouse like the 6090 series, you've got a gold mine sitting right there on your floor. But to actually unlock that high margin potential, we really need to talk about reverse printing on transparent acrylic. It's an application your clients will absolutely go crazy for, and mastering it is going to totally set your shop apart. So here's our standard operating procedure for today. First step, the reverse printing advantage. Then, perfecting your print environment. From there, we'll hit substrate prep and adhesion, followed by precision setup in software, and finally, executing the printing sequence. We're going to demystify the exact steps you need to get a totally flawless product. All right, let's jump right into part one, the reverse printing advantage. So you might be wondering, why should we even bother offering this? Well, reverse printing on transparent acrylic isn't just some neat little trick. It is a massive, highly lucrative upgrade to your current lineup. Just look at the difference here. With standard front printing, your design is just sitting right out there, completely exposed to the elements. It's so prone to scratches. And honestly, laying ink right on top actually kills that beautiful inherent transparency and gloss of the acrylic. But with back printing, or reverse printing, that's where the magic happens. The design is safely locked away behind the acrylic itself, so it's scratch-resistant, wear-resistant, you name it. Plus, because your clients are looking at the ink through that thick acrylic, the colors look incredibly translucent and beautifully layered. You're literally taking full advantage of the glossy properties to create this premium texture the clients just eat up. Especially for high-end signage or awards, it's a total game changer. Moving right along to section 2, perfecting your print environment. Now, to get that ultra-premium result, we actually need to talk about your shop floor first, because honestly, flawless printing starts way before you even power up that 6090 UV printer. The absolute key here is your climate control. You've got to keep that room temperature between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius and your relative humidity right in that 40 to 60% sweet spot. Listen, as your consultant, I literally cannot stress this enough. Ignoring these numbers is going to cost you serious money. If your shop gets too cold, your UV ink gets thick and gooey. That causes viscosity fluctuations, making your print heads work way harder than they need to. And if that humidity drops below 40%, your acrylic sheets basically turn into static electricity magnets. That leads to weak curing, fuzzy edges, and those incredibly expensive print head clogs. So keep those metrics dialed in, okay? Now, even with perfect humidity, the second you peel that protective film off an acrylic sheet, boom, you've got massive static. Take a look at this Clean Flex Easy 24-volt anti-static blowgun. I highly recommend grabbing something exactly like this to neutralize your material. But hey, here's a massive pro tip for you. Neutralize the sheets in free air. Don't do it while it's laying flat on the printer's vacuum table. Actually, when you hold the sheet up in the air, the electric field can move in all directions, so it gets completely neutralized. If you don't do this, that static acts like a giant dust magnet, and it will totally distort those microscopic ink droplets as they fall. And for a solid secondary line of defense, check out these compact CMYK ion 24-volt electrostatic eliminators right on the printing head carriage. As your print head is zipping back and forth over the acrylic, these little guys neutralize any leftover static right during the actual print sequence. It's absolutely crucial for making sure your ink droplets land exactly where they belong. The result? Razor-sharp, high-definition prints every single time. All right, section 3, substrate prep and adhesion. You've got to treat substrate prep kind of like cooking a high-end meal. I mean, if you don't prep the pan, the food just sticks, right? Well, for us, cleaning ensures the UV ink permanently bonds to the acrylic. To really get this, we need to talk about a concept called wetting. You essentially want the UV ink to successfully wet the surface. Think about a car. If it's freshly waxed, water just beads right up and rolls off. But if it hasn't been waxed, the water spreads out nice and flat. It wets the surface. Proper cleaning of your acrylic does exactly that. It removes all those invisible barriers, like manufacturing oils and dust, so the UV ink can actually wet the surface, instead of beading up. That's how you guarantee maximum permanent adhesion. But hold on, you have to be really careful about how you clean. If you're working with standard plastics, just wiping them down with isopropyl alcohol and a lint-free cloth, that's perfect, totally fine. However, if your shop is using acrylic that's been laser cut to a custom shape, do not, I repeat, do not use alcohol. The alcohol actually reacts with those heat-stressed, laser-cut edges and causes these tiny little fractures called microcracking. It will completely ruin your substrate. So for those laser cut pieces, you've got to use lighter fluid or paint thinner instead. It cleans it beautifully and, most importantly, keeps the structural integrity of the acrylic totally intact. Okay, let's look at section 4, precision setup and software. So, the room is perfectly prepped, the acrylic is super clean. Now we move over to the digital side of things. This is all about dialing in your precise parameters before you ever hit print. Let's walk through this step by step because honestly, precision here is everything. First up, grab your tools and manually measure the exact width, height, and, most crucially, the thickness of that specific acrylic sheet. Seriously, do not just trust the sticker on the box. If you skip measuring the thickness, you run the huge risk of setting your print head way too low. And trust me, a head crash is catastrophic and incredibly expensive. Second, when you're building your canvas in a program like Photoshop, be sure to add exactly 2 millimeters to your width and height dimensions. That tiny little overage totally prevents those ugly unprinted edges. And finally, bring that file into your 6090 printer's proprietary software and just double-check the positioning against your platform coordinates. Finally, we're at section 5, executing the printing sequence. All right, we made it to the main event. It is time to take that perfectly prepared digital file out to the flatbed on the factory floor and actually run this thing. Let's break down the mechanical sequence. First things first, secure your acrylic sheet onto the platform. Slapping a bit of double-sided tape right underneath is a great trick to stop any tiny micro movements. Second, adjust your print head height perfectly using those manual thickness measurements we just took. Third, go into your software and select reverse orientation. That just mirrors the image so it looks completely right when you flip the finished piece over. Now step 4, and this is the absolute secret sauce of reverse printing. You have to print the color layer first. You're literally laying down the CMYK colors right onto the back of the clear acrylic. Then, step 5, you immediately print a solid white layer directly over that wet color ink. That white layer acts like a physical backing. It pumps up the color saturation and completely blocks out the background, so your image just explodes with vibrancy from the front. As we wrap up this explainer consultation today, I want to share a quick thought from an expert over at Andrus Jed. They pointed out that UV printing on acrylic really shows off the fusion of advanced digital printing with incredible material versatility, empowering shops to make stunning, durable prints. And that's exactly what this reliable, repeatable process does for you. By following this whole shebang, nailing your climate, killing the static, prepping the plastic right, and running a perfect color than white reverse print, you're minimizing your waste, hitting those big sustainability goals, and getting maximum top-tier quality every single time. So here is the million-dollar question. Is your shop ready to master the reverse print? You already have the heavy-duty equipment sitting right there on your floor. And now you've got the exact technical blueprint to pull it off. It is time to upgrade your workflow, grab those high-paying clients, and truly maximize what your business can do. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and seriously, I cannot wait to see the absolutely incredible products you're going to start pulling off those 6090 UV printers.